Well, hello and welcome to another episode in our Tribulation Soldier COMS YouTube and Facebook. And at the moment I'm running through a teaching from the Book of Revelations, mainly from the Book of Revelations, of a period to come in the future called the 7-year trial and tribulation, where God will mete out 21 judgments upon the earth. Now I'm trying to teach this as uncomplicated as I possibly can, but as per usual guys, I can't water it down. This stuff really is the real deal. So for the moment, just going to layer it up and layer it up and layer it up. Now in this intro, I thought I'd read the verses out from the scriptures, just to give you a flavour. Obviously guys, I'll go into this in much more detail in the future, But again, we just want to put in these basic understandings of all these different things. So when we put it together, we've got the full picture. And I love just sort of reading straight off the scriptures, I really like that. So here we go, Revelation 6:12. And behold, when he had opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. And the stars of the heavens fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casts her untimely figs, when she is shaken by a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll, when it was rolled together, and every mountain and every island was moved out of their places. Again, I'll go back into what all that means, later on. But for now, just keep it simple. We'll look at the cause and the effect of this great earthquake in the skies, in the oceans, and on dry land. So I really hope you enjoy, and as always guys, we're YouTubers, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notifications bell. At the time of filming this video, we're loading quite a few videos and teaching series onto this channel, all of which we hope you'll really enjoy. But for now, let's get into it. So this 6th seal, there's weather phenomenon all over the planet. So the 6th seal brings natural disasters of every kind, and just like you saw from we're reading out from the scriptures, it comes from a great earthquake. And this earthquake that comes must be worldwide and very intense indeed. But even then, the final earthquake on the 21 judgments of God, that level cities of every nation, it will be the big one, the real big one. So this one really intense and worldwide, but not quite as much as later on. So I thought I'd just take 3 examples of weather phenomenon and natural disasters. So there's this great big sort of worldwide earthquake. So we'll take the winds for example. Most people know that winds just basically caused by high and low pressures due to the uneven heat of the sun hitting the planet. And we can have light breezes, mild winds, right up to hurricanes and tornadoes. Now again, the reason I shared that bit of scripture was just to show you what it said about the sun and the moon being darkened. Probably never in our history have we ever had something like that happen. And I'm sure weather experts and meteorologists and various others could explain so much more, guys. And we've got so much information available to us today. It's really great to study into. Again, I'll go into more detail in the future, but at the moment, we'll just keep it nice and simple. Again, we've never seen our skies being darkened, but the effects of this would be absolutely devastating. When we think of hurricanes and tornadoes and cyclones and all those big words we use for powerful wind, well, in this is going to happen in places that it never happened before. In many places that have never really experienced hurricanes or tornadoes, they are not going to be ready for this type of thing. They've never built it in such a way as to withstand that kind of weather. So again, planet-wide, earth-wide, not just localized to various areas. So of course the big one when it comes to the sea is of course tsunamis. And tsunamis are normally caused by earthquakes, but they can occur through volcanic eruptions, subsea volcanic eruptions, as well as meteors hitting the earth. So again, this earthquake is worldwide, and some of the most major earthquakes we've seen in recent years and in the past have been kind of localized. This will happen all over the world. So you can only conclude that tsunamis are going to happen all over the world in places that they've never happened before. And again, countries like that, coastal cities, they've never ever had to concern themselves about tsunamis. Now, all of a sudden, these tsunamis are actually happening. The destruction would be catastrophic. And of course, nowadays, guys, we can see footage, actual footage of tsunamis, you know, on YouTube and various documentaries and various things like that. And I think what strikes you about tsunamis themselves is just the sheer force, this unbelievable force and weight of water, the power just of this wave coming in at a certain height is absolutely devastating. And of course, the water, it goes everywhere. Now, we just live a few miles from the coast, beautiful beaches, gorgeous old harbours, and all those sorts of things. And it becomes all the more real to me when I imagine that happening up here on these beaches that we love, these tourist attraction beaches and these various places. It's just, the tsunami to me is frightening, you know, really, really frightening. And finally, the earthquakes themselves. Again, we'll keep it simple. Scientists say there's 7 major tectonic plates and 8 minors. And most of the world's volcanoes are found on the edge of these plates. Now, these plates sit on lava and they move around very slowly. But there comes a point where there's friction, and then the plate starts to get stuck. And it's the release of that force, the friction, and then the release of that force that causes an earthquake. And if you look at the maps of the tectonic plates, you know, you look at the globe and you see it, it's really quite amazing, you know, when you really look at it and study it, you see where these fault lines are all over the world. And obviously, earthquakes can cause tsunamis as well. You know, and in many ways, you know, a certain weather phenomenon affects another and so on. Again, we'll just keep it simple for now, but hopefully just starting to get a bit of a flavour of the whole thing. You can look at this online and find out a little bit more about it. Again, I'll go in detail later, but just tremendous stuff, guys. Just really take it in. You guys can check out the great San Francisco earthquake in 1906. And back then, I think it was about 80% of the buildings were destroyed. It was catastrophic. It was huge. The largest magnitude of an earthquake was in 1960 that's been recorded. I think it was about 9.5 on the Richter scale. And it was utterly devastating. Utterly devastating. We had a major earthquake in 2023 with Turkey and Syria, and that was a huge one as well. That was another big, big earthquake. Absolutely devastating. So again, like I keep saying about the book of Revelation, sometimes it's a bit mystical, or there's, you know, there's all these things that surround it, you know. But when you actually look at it, you say, well, you've just heard one of those verses. Could these things actually happen? You know, could they actually happen? And the answer is yes. Absolutely yes. But why? Why do this on the 6th seal? Well, for that, you have to look back at the 5th seal. And you'll remember in the previous teaching, it was about the prayers of the saints. And the saints in heaven at the time were crying out to God, saying, why won't you avenge us? Why won't you avenge our deaths? For us being martyred on earth, for declaring your name. This, the 6th seal, was God's answer to that prayer. And it was devastating. It will be ferocious, and it'll be sustained. It'll go and it'll go and it'll go and it'll go. And as it says in the scriptures, that even the kings and captains will hide from the face of God. So that's the 6th seal, and I'm hoping that you can see the intensities beginning to grow. As we go through all the 21 judgments, the intensity grows even more and more and more. For the ones we've seen so far, it's unthinkable. But yet, this is quite in a smaller scale than later. I'm hoping also that you see the countdown, that in this time, that is the final countdown, the final years of mankind's history. But there's one great truth that actually comes through this, guys. You know, when it comes to these judgments, these are judgments that nobody can stop. Absolutely nobody can stop at all. You know, we can't stop tsunamis, we can't stop hurricanes and tornadoes, we can't stop volcanoes. We don't have the technology, and probably never will. Well, there's no probably about it, we never will. It's just too big to contain. So in this time, you see that. You see this huge intensity and people fleeing, knowing it's God that's doing it. So you'd think, why on earth do all these people not turn to God during this time? Some will, many will maybe, but not all. And again, we go back through the seals to figure out why. Well, it's the Antichrist and the false prophet. Their work on earth, their one world government will be in full swing. And they can do miracles and signs and wonders as well. And the Antichrist will continue to convince many that he is greater than God. I'm hoping through what I explained so far that he's not. can't control the weather, he can't control volcanoes, he can't do these things. God can. Again, in the last one, I was just wanting to show you that the difference in the power, there's no competition, none. In this time on Earth, though, what you can see, they will be the answer. They will be the answer to the population of the Earth. So definitely enough for now, I think, eh? Again, just simple stuff, and again, it's stuff that you can go and have a look at. I will teach a little bit more about these weather phenomenons and all those sorts of different things. Those things about the sun being darkened and the moon turning into blood and parts of the world like that during this. I'll explain all about that stuff later. But let's just keep building it up piece by piece, piece by piece, and it'll all come together. So again, thank you so much for watching. Really heavy, can't water it down, I'm afraid. You know, this is just how it is. This is the real deal, as I put it. But thankfully, we don't live in that age yet. So that's one great thing about it, isn't it? So again, as always, guys, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit notifications. That'd be awesome. Loads of videos still to come, and quite a few videos to come out of this as well. I'm going to keep going and going and going until it's done. So God bless, and thank you so much.